There is a building in Riyadh that everyone knows. You see it from the highway before you see anything else. You see it from the airport as your plane descends. You see it on postcards, on currency, on the covers of magazines that write about Saudi Arabia's transformation. Kingdom Center, 302 meters of steel and glass, rising from the heart of the capital like an exclamation point. At its summit, an inverted parabolic arch, a hole in the sky, a window framing nothing but air. The locals call it the bottle opener. The architects call it a masterpiece. The city calls it home. This building is more than architecture. It is a symbol. It appears on the hundred-riyal note, printed in green ink, a statement of national pride rendered in paper and polymer. It anchors the skyline, gives the city a silhouette, provides a point of reference in a landscape that can otherwise feel endless and disorienting. Kingdom Center was completed in 2002. It was, for a time, the tallest building in Saudi Arabia. It remains the most recognizable. Its distinctive shape, that void at the top, that absence where other towers would place a spire or an antenna, has become shorthand for Riyadh itself. Stand at its base and look up. The glass facade reflects clouds, sun, the movement of time across the sky. The scale is inhuman. You feel small, which is perhaps the point. Great buildings have always been designed to make individuals feel the weight of something larger than themselves. But every tower casts a shadow, and in that shadow, there are stories that the postcards do not show. Kingdom Center was built during a particular moment in Riyadh's history, the late 1990s. Oil prices were recovering from a prolonged slump. The kingdom was investing heavily in modernization, and a new generation of developers was beginning to reshape the capital's skyline with ambitions borrowed from Dubai, from Singapore, from the great commercial cities of the world. Prince Ali bin Talal commissioned the tower. He was, at the time, one of the wealthiest investors on earth, a man whose portfolio included stakes in Citi, Apple, Twitter, and countless other global enterprises. Kingdom Center was to be his monument, his statement, his contribution to the city. The design came from Ellerb, Beckett, and Omrania, a collaboration between American vision and local knowledge. The brief was clear. Create something iconic. Create something that would define Riyadh for generations. They succeeded. But success of this magnitude is never simple. A building this large does not simply appear. It is wrestled into existence by thousands of hands, financed by complex arrangements of capital, permitted through negotiations that leave no public record. The workers who built Kingdom Center came from South Asia, from Southeast Asia, from wherever labor could be found at prices the project could afford. They lived in camps outside the city. They worked shifts that stretched across the hottest hours. They sent money home to families they would not see for years. When the tower opened, they were not invited to the ceremony. Their names do not appear on any plaque. Their faces do not feature in any documentary. They built an icon and then disappeared back into the anonymous machinery of global labor that makes such icons possible. This is not unique to Kingdom Center. This is how the modern world builds. But it is worth remembering, when we look up at gleaming towers, that someone looked down while constructing them. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west. This is elementary. Everyone knows it. But in a city like Riyadh, where the sun is not a gentle presence, but a force to be reckoned with, the path of light across the sky matters in ways that temperate cities never consider. Kingdom Center stands on King Fahd Road, the great spine that runs through central Riyadh. Its orientation, its height, its mass, all of these create a shadow that moves through the day like the hand of a clock, sweeping across the urban landscape. In the morning, the shadow stretches westward. It falls across parking lots, across service roads, across the back entrances where delivery trucks queue. At noon, the shadow shrinks, compressed by a sun that is almost directly overhead. The tower stands in a small pool of its own darkness, surrounded by light so intense it bleaches the pavement white. In the afternoon, the shadow extends eastward. It reaches across the streets, behind the tower, across older buildings, across neighborhoods that existed before Kingdom Center was even imagined. This shadow is not metaphorical. It is physical, measurable, real. On summer days, when the temperature in direct sunlight can exceed 50 degrees, the difference between sun and shade is the difference between danger and relative safety. The shadow of Kingdom Center provides relief to those who find themselves within it. But shadows are temporary. They move. They offer shelter for an hour, then withdraw it. They follow rules that have nothing to do with human need. And there is another kind of shadow. The shadow of wealth, of power, of a building that costs what entire neighborhoods will never earn. This shadow does not move with the sun. It stays in place, permanent and unacknowledged. Walk north from Kingdom Center. Leave the polished plaza, the luxury mall, the five-star hotels that cluster around the tower's base. Cross King Fahd Road, carefully, because pedestrians are an afterthought in this part of the city, and enter a different world. The streets narrow. The buildings shrink. The glass and steel give way to concrete and paint that has faded in the relentless sun. This is the older Riyadh. Not ancient. Nothing in this city is truly ancient. Not in the way that Damascus or Cairo can claim antiquity, but older. Built in the 1970s and 1980s, when oil wealth first began transforming the kingdom. Built for a different scale, a different economy, a different vision of what the city would become. The shops here sell things that the mall in Kingdom Center does not carry. Spare parts for machines, fabric by the meter, phone repairs, key cutting, alterations, the services that keep a city running but that do not appear in architectural renderings. The people here are different too. They are workers. Drivers, cleaners, cooks, security guards. Many are foreign from Pakistan, from India, from Bangladesh, from the Philippines. They live in apartments subdivided far beyond their original design. 8 men sharing space meant for a family, because the economics of their situation demand it. They can see Kingdom Center from their windows. They can walk to its shadow in 15 minutes. But the distance between their lives and the lives lived inside that tower cannot be measured in meters. Kingdom Center employs thousands of people. Not directly. The building itself has a relatively small permanent staff, but the ecosystem that surrounds it, that makes it function, that keeps its surfaces clean and its systems running. This ecosystem is vast and largely invisible. The cleaners arrive before dawn. They polish the marble floors of the lobby while the city still sleeps. They empty the trash bins of offices that will fill again by noon. They maintain the illusion of effortless perfection that luxury spaces require. The security guards stand at every entrance, every elevator bank, every transition point between public and private space. They are the membrane that separates those who belong from those who do not. They check badges, monitor cameras, maintain order through presence. The drivers wait in underground parking structures, ready to ferry executives to meetings, to airports, to the other nodes of power that define their employers' days. They sit in vehicles that cost more than they will earn in years, servants of machines as much as of men. The kitchen staff prepare meals in restaurants that charge what a month's labor would bring in their home countries. They cook dishes they will never order, plate food they will never eat, serve customers who do not see them. This is the shadow economy of Kingdom Center. It is not hidden. Anyone who looks can see it. The cleaners wear uniforms. The guards wear badges. The drivers wear the livery of their employers. But seeing and acknowledging are different things. The tower rises, the workers remain at its base, and the distance between them is maintained by systems so ordinary that they have become invisible. Let us speak plainly about money. Kingdom Center contains some of the most expensive real estate in Saudi Arabia. The office space commands premium rents. The hotel, Four Seasons, charges rates that would be considered high in London or New York. The apartments at the upper levels, with their views across the endless city, are priced for a clientele that does not ask about price. A night in the hotel costs what a construction worker earns in a month. A meal in the restaurant costs what a cleaner earns in a week. A monthly parking space costs what a driver might spend on rent for his shared room. These comparisons are not meant to shock. They are simply arithmetic. They describe the reality of a city where vast wealth and modest means exist in immediate proximity, separated by glass doors and elevator access, and the silent understanding that certain spaces are not meant for certain people. This is true in many cities. New York has its doorman buildings and its homeless shelters. London has its Mayfair and its council estates. Inequality is not unique to Riyadh. But the compression here is unusual. The worker who cleans the hotel room and the guest who sleeps in it may live within a few kilometers of each other. They may pass each other on the same streets. They exist in the same physical space while inhabiting entirely different economic universes. Kingdom Center makes this visible. It stands as a monument to what wealth can build, while its shadow falls across neighborhoods that wealth has passed over. At the top of Kingdom Center, there is an observation deck. Visitors pay to ride the elevator, to step out onto the sky bridge that spans the building's distinctive arch, to look down at Riyadh from 300 meters above the ground. The view is extraordinary. The city stretches in every direction, a seemingly infinite grid of buildings and roads and construction sites. To the north, the newer developments, the financial district, the diplomatic quarter, the planned communities of recent decades. To the south, the older areas, denser and less orderly, the neighborhoods that grew before master planning became the norm. From this height, everything looks peaceful. The traffic appears to flow smoothly. The buildings seem arranged with purpose. The gaps between wealth and poverty are invisible. Just variations in roof color and building density. And the width of streets, this is what height does. It abstracts. It removes detail. It creates the illusion of order. But Riyadh is not orderly. It is a city of radical juxtaposition, where a villa worth millions can share a wall with a labor camp housing dozens, where a shopping mall selling Gucci and Prada sits across the street from a market selling vegetables by the kilo, where the future and the past collide in every neighborhood, every block, every intersection. You cannot see this from the observation deck. You can only see it from the ground, from the streets, from the shadow where the towers gleam does not reach. Before Kingdom Center, this land was something else. Riyadh has been built and rebuilt so many times that memory becomes geological, layered beneath surfaces that reveal nothing. The neighborhoods that now sit in the Tower S shadow have their own histories. Families who moved here when this was the edge of the city. Businesses that grew and faded. Communities that formed and dispersed. The old-timers remember when King Fahd Road was not the canyon of glass it has become. They remember when the skyline was modest, when the tallest buildings were minarets, when the desert was visible from almost anywhere in the city. These memories are fading. The people who hold them are aging. Their children grew up with Kingdom Center already in place, already defining the skyline, already seeming permanent and inevitable. The younger generation cannot imagine Riyadh without it. This is how cities erase their pasts. Not through deliberate destruction, though that happens too, but through the simple accumulation of new construction, new landmarks, new reference points. The old becomes invisible not because it is removed, but because it is overshadowed. Kingdom Center did not demolish the neighborhoods behind it, but it rendered them insignificant, at least in the visual hierarchy of the city. They became background, context, the Lurai's fabric against which the tower's height could be measured. The people who live there still live there. Their streets still exist. Their shops still open each morning. But on the postcards, in the photographs, in the image of Riyadh that circulates around the world, they do not appear. They are in the shadow, and shadows do not photograph well. What does it mean to build monuments in a city of contradictions? Kingdom Center is not evil. It is a building. It provides office space, hotel rooms, shopping, observation decks. It employs people and generates economic activity. It has become a point of pride for a city seeking recognition on the global stage. But it is also a symbol of something more complicated. It represents a vision of development that prioritizes spectacle over fabric, icons over neighborhoods, the view from above over the experience at ground level. It represents choices about how resources are allocated, about whose needs are centered, about what kind of city Riyadh wants to become. These choices are not made by buildings. They are made by people, by planners, by investors, by governments, by the countless actors who shape urban development through decisions large and small. Kingdom Center is the result of those decisions. It is not the cause of inequality, but it is a manifestation of it. It does not create the shadow. It casts it, and in that shadow, life continues. The workers wake before dawn and return after dark. The families make do in apartments, too small and too expensive. The shops open and close. serving communities that tourists never see. The children grow up knowing that the gleaming tower on the skyline is not for them. Not yet, maybe not ever. This is not a tragedy. Tragedy implies a fall from height. These communities were never at height. They have simply remained where they were while the city built upward around them. But it is a question about what cities are for, about who they serve, about whether the monuments we build lift everyone or only those who can afford the elevator. Kingdom Center has no answer to this question. It simply stands, reflecting the sun by day and glowing with artificial light by night, while its shadow moves across the ground in patterns that no one planned but everyone can see. The tower reaches toward the sky. The neighborhoods remain at its feet, and somewhere between them, in the space where light meets darkness, Riyadh continues to become whatever it is becoming.